So welcome to this Blender tutorial. Um, I'm trying to make this tutorial as detailed as possible. So this is for everyone who is just going to start using Blender. Basically, it's for beginners. So I'm gonna make it into different sections if possible. I'm just gonna go with my flow, but I'm gonna make it uh, into sections, different sections. So first thing I will talk about is the interface, and I'm just gonna give you the very basic things about this interface, the user interface. Um, First of all, when you open Blender, you're gonna see this welcome screen, and uh, this will be different, you know, I mean, you'll have a different screen maybe if you have a different version of Blender. So it uh, depends on what version of Blender you're using. Currently, I'm using Blender 4.0, and as you can see here, it's 4.0.2. Um, Yours might be older or newer, so it doesn't matter. The basic is the same. So when you open Blender, you're gonna see this screen, and here you can see like different options. As you can see, there's new file and recent files. So these are recent files I had just made. I have been working on, and you have new file, open, and other things. So when you are trying to trying to use Blender for the first time, you just need to um, look at this part, new file. So under new file, you have general, 2D animation, sculpting, VFX, and video editing. Okay. Obviously, if you have been using Blender and just you want to open one of your projects, you can just go to open here. Otherwise, if you are new to Blender, just go to this section, and very common way to start your Blender journey is selecting this general option. So I'm gonna go and click general. So when you click on general, you're gonna see this kind of screen. So this is viewport. So if you come across this term viewport, so this is the thing. It's like if you open a video editing software, it's just the stage or maybe canvas in your designing softwares like Photoshop. Yeah, so this is the default screen you get, and this is the default cube. This is the default object in uh, most of the versions of Blender. I mean, actually, it's like um, any version of Blender. It's the same. This is the default object. So this is the viewport, and then you can see there are menu bar up here. It's very similar to any other software. Okay, file, edit, render, window, help, and you have like different options over here. So right now we are on layout. By default, we are on layout. There are different options to go depending on uh, what you want to do. Like for example, modeling. Okay, you're gonna go to modeling. It's gonna give you a little different user interface if you want to go to shading. So yeah, you're gonna see completely different interface over here. So these ones are like things you're gonna do later. But for beginning, just stick with layout. You don't need any other options here for now. So the first section is about the user interface. So I'm just gonna introduce you to these very basic things you need to know. So right here, okay, on the right side over here, you can see scene collection, and you have collection, camera, cube, light. So notice how this orange, I guess it's orange or yellow or whatever, the orange line, the selection changes. Okay, when you click on camera, this is the camera, and the camera is selected. If you go to cube, the cube is selected. If you click on light, the light is selected. So this is where you're gonna select your object and your camera and light. Down here you have a lot of options, but right now I think you don't need to use anything when you are beginning. There are kind of tools to modify your objects. Just for introduction, if you click here on this object, and if you go down here on material properties, so this shows the properties of this material, like basic color is white, and yeah, roughness and all that. And you might be wondering why it's not showing the white color. Are we gonna come to that thing later? Uh, okay, so up here on the left side we have something called object mode. So what is it? If you click on this option, you have edit mode, sculpt mode, vertex paint, weight paint, texture paint. When you are beginning, you're just a beginner, you just need to know about two modes, object mode and edit mode. If you click edit mode, you can see there's something, like orange lines on the cube. So what it says is, okay, let me go to object mode, back to object mode. So object mode is where, you're gonna see the final object, final product. So when you click here, this is one object in object mode. If you go to edit mode, you can, as the title suggests, the name suggests, edit mode, you can edit the object. On object mode, you cannot edit the object. You can add modifiers, you can add materials, you can add different what to say, properties to this object, but you cannot edit its actual shape or its yeah, basically its shape. So if you go to edit mode, this is where we edit its shape. Okay, so that's the difference between edit mode and object mode. On object mode, we cannot do that. If you select, nothing happens. You cannot edit the shape of the object. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this thing. So yeah, object mode and edit mode, you just saw the difference. Whatever we're gonna do to this object, we're gonna go and do that in edit mode. I'm gonna give you another example. I made this duplicate object here in edit mode. So what it does is it makes duplicate object inside edit mode, but it is not actually a different object since I did that in edit mode. If you go back to object mode, if you select one object here, both the objects are selected. If you want to move, both the objects move. So because in the edit mode we made the duplicate object, that means the object is one. There's only one object, you know, because we didn't do that in object mode. When you do something in edit mode, by selecting one object, and when you make any modification, when you make like duplicate or anything, that becomes just one object. Okay, so that's the difference between object mode and edit mode. Other than that, down here you can see this thing, as you can see, play buttons and like fast forward and all that. If you just hover here, and when the mouse cursor turns into like this thing, you just click here. So this is the timeline. This is used for animation purpose. So for now, maybe you don't need to use this thing, but still, it's good to know, yeah, that it's timeline for animation. So yeah, so this is the basic user interface you need to know um, when you begin to work on Blender. Okay, what else? So these are on the left, these are the tools on object mode, and these are the tools on edit mode. So you can notice that when I'm on edit mode, we have a lot more options to choose, because in edit mode we can do a lot of you know, tweaks and twists to this object. So that's the thing. Let's go back to object mode. So yeah, that's the basic introduction of this user interface for beginners who are just uh, trying to use Blender for the first time. So in the next section, I will tell you how we're gonna work with these objects, how we're gonna move these objects, because I know if you are new to Blender, you're trying to just move this default cube and you're not able to do so because it's kind of very different from any other programs or softwares. So yeah, that will be covered in the next section.